Hi, I'm Doris of the Cisco Networking Academy. It's my great pleasure to be speaking this evening to the former administrator of NASA and professor at the University of Alabama in Huntsville, Professor Michael Griffin. Good evening, Professor, and thank you very much for joining us. I'd like to start with some questions that we've received from our community about how you began your career and the events that basically have led you to where you are today. So my first question comes from Jackie Barker, who is Operations Manager at the Cisco Networking Academy. Jackie says, I'd be curious to know if you always wanted to be involved in NASA or if there was something that sparked your interest over time.
Well, I've always wanted to be involved with space, and I have been with NASA on several different occasions, but I've also worked in the military side of the space program and very enjoyably. So I've always been involved with space and always wanted to be. I guess this triggering event for that was when I was 5 years old. My mother gave me for a Christmas present, the first one I can specifically recall, gave me a book on astronomy. And I was just fascinated with it. And I read it over and over again. And really from that point on, I was just interested in space.
Great, thank you. What kind of encouragement or support were you given as a child or as a young student? Can you remember perhaps a teacher or a mentor who inspired you and encouraged you?
Well, I can't really say that I needed any inspiration. I had my own goals from the time I was a small boy. I did have many really good teachers who would encourage this or that as being a way to get to my goals. I feel like I was very fortunate with my selection of teachers.
I have a question from Aine Wilson, who's one of our instructors based in the UK. Aine wants to know if you have any ideas on how to make science more appealing as a subject for school-aged children. And he wants to know what, if anything, parents could do to support and encourage their children's interest in science.
Well, I think if science is taught as a dry collection of facts and figures, then it will turn off many people, including me. But the wonder of science and engineering is associated with questions. Why is a certain thing a certain way? Why is there a rainbow? Why does this bridge look like it does? Why are tall buildings able to stand up to the wind? What things do you think might limit the height of tall buildings? It turns out that it's elevator capacity, and so on and so forth. If you ask children the why of things or point out to them puzzling dilemmas and then maybe help them with the answer, then they become intrigued with it and they want to know. And then they will study. Why does a satellite stay in orbit? Why doesn't it just fall to Earth? All of these things have explanations that can be given to children or that they can be encouraged to find for themselves if you think about it.
We have something that we're well aware of within the Cisco Networking Academy is what we call the gender gap. Essentially, there are very few women studying on our program and there are relatively few women in ICT in general. Any thoughts about how we might encourage girls specifically?
Well, I'm not sure that I'm qualified to know because after all I'm a boy, but I'm obviously not built like an athlete, and so when I was growing up, my competition was other students who had great minds, and in many cases my competitors were girls. And so my mother was a teacher, and so I grew up thinking of women as equals. I don't know how one goes about encouraging women to think of themselves as equals. I just don't know. I have encouraged my daughters to be whatever it is that they wish to be, and I think they think relatively well of themselves, but it's not something I can prove. I really don't know. It's a very difficult question.
In addition to your PhD in aerospace engineering, you hold 5 master's degrees in a number of disciplines. This is my question really. Why so many?
Well, I always like learning things. I like learning new things. It's fun and interesting for me, and it was greatly preferable to watching situation comedies on American TV. All of it fitted naturally into the kind of work that I wanted to do, And so there was a certain synergy there. I don't know how else to answer.
Is there a field left that you'd like to research? Is there any uncharted territory?
Oh, dozens. I mean, I'm not a chemical engineer. I'm not a materials scientist. I don't have a degree in computer science. I don't have a degree in law. I don't have a degree in history. There are 100 things if I could live long enough and had the time, that I would study.
I've got a question from David Barkley. He's one of our students based in Southport in England. He wants to know what you think your greatest achievement as administrator of NASA was.
Picking a great team of people. That's really the only thing I did for NASA that was helpful. And my time at NASA was a good time, and I think when I left I was generally well thought of, so that was satisfying, and that's entirely due to the accomplishments of the team I picked. The boss doesn't really do anything. The boss doesn't really do anything. The most that you do is to make difficult decisions where the outcomes are not that clear either way, or they would never get to you. If the outcome was clear, somebody would have picked before it gets to you, and you pick great people, and so I was proud of the team I picked.